How about if I tell you in less than 3 minutes how to lead change? Now, for you, those of you who don't know me, my name is Patrick Stahl, and I teach leadership and self-leadership. And actually, this applies to both. Because whether you work or at home want to accomplish any kind of change, these are the steps you need to follow. So the bigger the change, the more accurately you need to follow every step. These are 8 steps, and they're designed by John P Kotter. He wrote about this in his book, Leading Change. It's a fantastic book. I recommend it. I don't recommend the other books he wrote, but that one is brilliant. It's the gold standard for change. So if you work with other types of change, then probably you recognize this. Because even if your method or model of change is named something different, then it still roots back to this original granddaddy of all theories for change. Leading change has 8 steps. The first one is that you need to create a sense of urgency. You need to have a burning platform. In plain English, people need to want to change because the status quo, the current situation, is just no longer good. So, sense of urgency, that's step number 1. Step number 2 is a rookie mistake. You create a guiding coalition. Most people, they only gather the people who will say yay to the change. And then they're surprised later on that people oppose the change. So put the yay-sayers and the naysayers in the same room. Create a guiding coalition so that you have people invested in the change. Not just the positive ones, but also the ones who are skeptical. That's step number 2. Step number 3, create a vision, develop a vision and strategies. So what is it that you really, really want? And how are you going to get there? Now, that's step number 3. Step number 4 is also sometimes a rookie mistake that you miss because you think you have such a lovely vision and such beautiful strategies that you don't really need to communicate them. You just send out a memo and hope that people will get it. Here's a surprise for you. People don't get it, So what you need to do is to communicate the vision. Communicate the vision and the strategies. That's step number 4. Now you've done all the planning and the communicating, it's time to start the changing. That's step number 5. Remove barriers for people's actions. If people have a burning platform, they want to get away from that. If they see a vision, that's where we want to go, then please make it easy for them to take those steps. So remove barriers for action. That's step number 5. Step number 6 is to acknowledge that when people are finally taking the first steps in the right direction, accomplish short-term wins. That's step number 6. Make it so that people can celebrate when they have started the journey, not when they finish, because people need to they need to be rewarded and celebrated when they take the first steps. What you're doing here in step number 6 is that you're reinforcing, you're proving to the brain that, this is actually doable. So step number 5, remove the actions, the barriers to actions so that people can move in the right direction. And when they start doing that, accomplish short-term wins. Fantastic, you took the first step. Fantastic, you sold the first item to a customer. Brilliant. Those are the first steps. And step number 7 is when you actually build on the change that you're already doing. So what you do is that you reflect and you ask yourself, what's working and what's not working? The stuff that's working, how can you iterate that more and create more probes, do more of that? The stuff that is not working, the strategies that are not working, those you need to dampen and do less of. Perhaps remove entirely. If those strategies are not giving traction, skip them. Step number 8 is when you institutionalize change. You make it a part of the DNA of the organization or the team. You can create policies or best practice from what's working and how the change has been institutionalized. Ideally, you don't even have to talk about it because it's been so firmly institutionalized that you don't have to reinforce it any longer. That's step number 8. Make sure that you have the policies, the guidelines that support that new behavior that is already in place. Then usually you have to start over again because then new things happen. New changes need to be institutionalized, so you start a new cycle. I hope that's helpful. If you like this kind of content, please subscribe to this channel and see you soon.